Emily Carter stood silently in the corner of room 417, her hands trembling as she folded the last towel. Outside the hotel window, the city lights sparkled like diamonds. But for Emily, those lights felt a million miles away. At 34 years old, she spent her days cleaning rooms in a luxury hotel she could never afford to stay in. Every morning, she woke up before sunrise. Every night, she returned home exhausted. And every day felt exactly the same. But what nobody knew was that Emily wasn't just fighting poverty. She was fighting heartbreak, fighting loneliness, fighting a life that had taken everything from her. 10 years earlier, Emily had dreamed of becoming a teacher. She had graduated college with honors. She had plans, goals, hope. Then life happened. Her father became sick. Medical bills piled up. Her mother passed away unexpectedly. And before she knew it, Emily had dropped everything to care for her family. When her father eventually died, he left behind nothing but debt. The house was gone. The savings were gone. The future she imagined was gone. All that remained was survival. So she took the first job she could find, cleaning hotel rooms. At first she told herself it was temporary. Just a few months. Maybe a year. But years passed. And somehow temporary became permanent. One afternoon, while changing bedsheets in a luxury suite, Emily noticed a wealthy family laughing together. A father joking with his children. A mother smiling beside him. The sound froze her. For a moment, she stood there staring. Not because she was jealous of their money. Because she missed having a family. Missed hearing laughter in a home. Missed feeling like she belonged somewhere. That night, she cried herself to sleep. Again. The next morning she arrived at work with swollen eyes. Her supervisor barely looked at her. Room 603 needs cleaning first. Emily nodded. No one asked if she was okay. No one noticed. That was the thing about people like Emily. They became invisible. Guests saw clean rooms. Managers saw employees. But nobody saw the woman carrying a broken heart behind every smile. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Then something strange happened. A new guest checked into the hotel. An elderly man named Mr. Harrison. Unlike most wealthy guests, he was quiet, polite, observant. Every morning, he greeted Emily by name. Good morning, Emily. At first, she was surprised he remembered her. Most guests never did. But Mr. Harrison always smiled. Always asked how her day was going. One morning, he noticed a bandage on her hand. What happened? Emily laughed softly. Just cleaning accidents. He frowned. You should take care of yourself. Nobody had said those words to her in years. For reasons she couldn't explain, they stayed with her. Over the next few months, Mr. Harrison became a regular guest. Whenever he stayed at the hotel, he spoke with Emily. Not as an employee. As a person. He asked about her dreams. Her childhood. Her family. And slowly, for the first time in years, Emily began talking. Really talking. One evening he asked a question that caught her off guard. If money wasn't a problem, what would you do? Emily smiled sadly. I'd teach children. Mr. Harrison nodded thoughtfully. You'd probably be a great teacher. She laughed. I'll never know. But he didn't laugh. Instead, he looked at her carefully, as if memorizing every word. Months passed. Winter arrived. Then one day Mr. Harrison stopped visiting. Weeks went by. Then months. Emily assumed he had simply chosen another hotel. Life continued. The same rooms. The same hallways. The same exhaustion. Until one rainy Tuesday morning. A receptionist approached her holding an envelope. Emily. Yes. This came for you. Emily looked confused. Nobody sent her letters. The envelope was thick. Cream-colored. Elegant. Her name was written in beautiful handwriting. She stared at it. A strange feeling settled in her chest. When she opened it, a folded letter slipped into her hands. At the top was a name she immediately recognized. Mr. Harrison. Her heart skipped. The letter began. Dear Emily, if you are reading this, it means I am no longer alive. Emily froze. Her hands shook. She continued reading. I spent many years surrounded by successful people, wealthy people, powerful people, yet very few possessed the kindness I found in you. Tears instantly filled her eyes. The letter continued. You treated me with dignity when you had no reason to. You showed compassion when the world showed you none. Emily could barely breathe. Then she reached the final paragraph. And everything changed. Included with this letter are instructions regarding an inheritance I have left in your name. Emily blinked. Inheritance? She looked again, certain she had misunderstood. But the words remained. An inheritance. For her. The room suddenly felt smaller. Her heart pounded. Attached to the letter was a business card from a law firm, and a note requesting she contact them immediately. Emily sat down, unable to process what she had just read. An inheritance? From a man she barely knew? It made no sense. None at all. Yet the letter was real. The card was real. Everything was real. That evening she stared at the documents for hours. Part of her thought it was a mistake. Another part feared it was some cruel scam. But deep inside, something whispered otherwise. The next morning she called the law office. And what she heard next would change. Emily barely slept that night. The letter lay on her small kitchen table, and every time she looked at it, her heart raced. An inheritance? From Mr. Harrison? It simply didn't make sense. By sunrise, she was already dressed and sitting by her phone. At exactly 9 o'clock, she called the law office listed on the business card. A calm voice answered. Good morning, Harrison and Blake attorneys. Emily swallowed nervously. My name is Emily Carter. I received a letter regarding an inheritance. There was a brief pause. Then the receptionist replied. Yes, Miss Carter. We've been expecting your call. Her stomach tightened. Expecting her? This wasn't a mistake. The receptionist scheduled an appointment for that afternoon. The hours crawled by. Emily cleaned hotel rooms as usual, but her mind wasn't there. Every bed she made. Every floor she vacuumed. Every towel she folded. All she could think about was that letter. When her shift finally ended, she took a bus across town to the law office. The building itself looked expensive. Glass walls. Marble floors. Everything about it screamed wealth. Emily suddenly felt out of place. Her shoes were worn. Her uniform was old. And for a moment, she considered turning around. But then she remembered Mr. Harrison. The kindness in his eyes. The respect he had always shown her. So she walked inside. A lawyer named Mr. Blake greeted her personally. He led her into a conference room. A thick file sat on the table. Emily's hands trembled. Mr. Blake smiled gently. Before we begin, I want you to know that Mr. Harrison spoke about you often. Emily blinked. He did. The lawyer nodded. Very highly. A lump formed in her throat. Mr. Blake opened the file. Mr. Harrison passed away 3 months ago. Emily lowered her eyes. Even though they weren't family, the news hurt. The elderly man had been one of the few people who had treated her with genuine kindness. The lawyer continued. Mr. Harrison had no children. Emily listened carefully. He was a successful businessman who accumulated substantial wealth during his lifetime. Then Mr. Blake slid several documents across the table. According to his final will, he left a significant portion of his estate to you. Emily stared, unable to speak. The lawyer slowly pushed forward another paper. Then he revealed the number. Emily's breath stopped. It wasn't thousands. It wasn't hundreds of thousands. It wasn't even millions. It was hundreds of millions of dollars. For several seconds, she couldn't move. Couldn't think. Couldn't even breathe properly. The number looked unreal. Like something from a movie. There must be a mistake. Mr. Blake shook his head. There is no mistake. Emily felt dizzy. Her entire life, she had worried about rent, food, electric bills, medical expenses. Now someone was telling her she was one of the richest women in the country. It felt impossible. Mr. Blake then handed her another letter. A second letter from Mr. Harrison. Emily opened it carefully. Inside were words she would never forget. Dear Emily, money reveals who people truly are. I have seen wealthy people with empty hearts and poor people with extraordinary souls. You reminded me that kindness still exists. You never asked me for anything. You never expected anything. That is exactly why I chose you. By the time she finished reading, tears streamed down her face. For years, she had felt invisible, forgotten, worthless. Yet someone had seen her. Someone had recognized her value when nobody else did.